Hey, what's up, Black Knight Nation? This is Sal Internado here, reporting from West Point. I'm in my car after a crazy game, Steve. Here with Steve Anderson. 70-56, Wake Forest wins against Army. Man, a bunch of records were smashed today, Steve. I mean, this was a day. This wasn't a day for you, right? A defensive guy. This definitely wasn't a day for the defense
Yeah,
today.
it was painful to see a 70 burger thrown up on an Army defense that has just been playing, just championship football. So, but like I said, Sal, eventually there was going to be a game where our offense was going to be putting up points, and we were going to need our defense to step up. And we had no answer for that long mesh, man. That long mesh was. That was giving us our eyes troubles with our DBs and our backers all day. And I'll tell you what, that's a great mesh. That's a great mesh. So they did just a great game overall.
Sam Hartman for Heisman, I guess, right? I mean, after a game like this, 458 passing yards, Mikey Stadium record, 5 touchdowns, ties a Mikey Stadium record. There was like 1,200 total yards in this, over 1,200 total yards in this game, Steve. And you know what? There was a point in this game where this Army was chasing the game most of this game, right? And at the end of the first half, it's 21-all. Wake Forest has the ball. It's a third down. It looks like, okay, Army might get off the field. Incomplete pass. Nope. Late flag. Pass interference on Eric Smith. I went to Twitter, totally disagreed with the call from the press box view, and I had a lot of Wake Forest fans get at me saying that, no, it was an obvious obvious pass interference call. Your take, Steve.
Well, I'm always going to side with Smith. I thought it was a pretty clean play. I mean, look, I thought the refs did a pretty good job throughout the game being fair. I just thought that one was a little ticky-tack for the situation and where, what it meant for that point in the game,
Yeah.
So, I'm more of a fan of letting everybody play. If it wasn't a clear disruption of catching the ball or preventing the offensive player from actually making the play, don't call it in that situation. Just let the guys play. But yeah,
was it even catchable?
Was that if you would have told me the over under was 53, and we scored 53 on our own, so that was that was a crazy game. I haven't seen a game like that with Army in a long time.
I think really another turning point in this game is when they call for that fake field goal, Steve. I mean, you might as well go for it there if you're going to. That play kind of really changed the tide. You
still got me, Sal?
Then he had to throw it right away, and he didn't, and it got pick six the other way.
Well, I mean, that guy made just an incredible play. I mean, that defensive back, outside linebacker, nickel back, whatever you want to call him, he made an absolute athletic play. Everything was there. It was there. And we just, he just threw it a little too late, and that's, we were playing back and forth. I mean, instead of being down by 2 tugs at the end, again, it goes to turnovers are key to the game, and we had 2, and there's where the extra 14, 21 points come from, those extra possessions.
Yeah, I mean, Army stopped Wake Forest, I believe, once on 4th down. And I think that's the only time they stopped Wake Forest today. 10 touchdowns by Wake Forest, even when Wake Forest is not looking to score at the end of the game, right? They get a 46-yard touchdown. And these are all, for the most part, these are big plays, right, Steve? These are big passes, that big run at the end. I mean, we think that this is one of the best secondaries that Army's had in a long time. So that tells you how good this Wake Forest passing game and offense really is.
Yeah, I couldn't believe we gave up that many yards in the air. And every time they made a play, I was pretty surprised that our DBs just couldn't find an answer the rest of the game. No change in defensive scheme. Just those guys were making better plays that our defensive backs could handle.
Yeah. If we want to talk a little bit about the Army side, let's see. Christian Anderson started the game, which everybody was thinking was a good sign, but I mean, he took a big hit on the second series and could not come back to the game. Tahir Tyler, I believe he took a shot to the head that was called for targeting, and he didn't come back to the game. So Jabari Laws is the quarterback, and Jabari Laws, I thought played pretty well. I mean, he gave Army a passing threat. That touchdown catch by Isaiah Alston on fourth down, I think it was a 21-yard touchdown catch. That's a man's play right there, Steve. That's a man's catch right there. And, so let's see. Army shows in the last fourth quarter against Wisconsin, and in this game, they can throw the ball a little bit, right? We can throw the ball a little bit. So we're down Army's down 2 scores, about a little under 5 minutes left, running fullback dives. Running fullback dives with the clock going off, running down, and a fumble happens. I don't understand why they weren't passing the ball there. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it might have been just, coach thinking that, just like you and me, like, hey, they think we're going to pass. Maybe we can split them up the middle with up the gut right now. Maybe they won't. It's kind of, almost like, how could you say this? But maybe they won't expect the fullback give in that situation. So I thought overall, it was a game like we talked about, Sal, where there's going to be a time where we need our defense to step up and stop them. Just like we've seen a lot in Army football, right? You see a lot where, okay, we've got, the 17 to 13 games, the 21 to 14 games, right? Low scoring games, we control the clock. Our defense does their job. We need our offense to put it in the end zone. Well, today was the day where we need a defensive stop, and we just couldn't have it. Couldn't do it. Yeah. Could not stop that offense. I don't know if, man, I don't know if that offense is that good, or if that mess just gave us personally that much problems, because Wake Forest is averaging over 40 points a game now. So especially with this game, I mean, they're putting points on the board. So I know it's not just us. They're 7-0. They're a good team. That quarterback is legit. That running back's they had him listed at 5'10", 200 pounds, 5'10", 210, but that boy was he was loaded in the legs, so he was a big boy.
Their wide receivers too. I mean, they have they go really deep on the wide receivers, and they were just burning the Army secondary all game. Let's give a shout out to Anthony Atkins. Anthony Atkins had, I believe, a 75-yard touchdown run for Army today. Jacoby Buchanan had 2 touchdown runs. The fullback had 3. They had 3 TDs from their fullbacks in this game, and the fullbacks weren't really producing the last 2. So, but when it turns into a track meet, those 2-3 yards of play are just not going to get it done. And they had some big plays. I mean, Steve, that response at the start of halftime, you know what I'm thinking? Here's what I'm thinking. They scored right away at halftime. They scored too fast. Army scored too fast after halftime because Wake Forest got the ball. I think one play, they were in the end zone again. I mean, they didn't take – I'm sure time of possession might be in Army's favor today, but I think – Army, both defenses just gave up a lot of points, a lot of yards, and this wasn't going to be a time of possession game. A drag it out 10 to 12 play drive for 8 minutes is going to be in Army's favor. It just wasn't. It was a track meet, and the Wake Forest just made better plays, had better players today, and that's about. I mean, a very entertaining game, Steve. To be in person for this game, you're on the edge of your seat for every play of this game in the press box. And if I look down to my laptop and I looked up, I might have missed a play. I might have missed a touchdown in this game.
Yeah,
I mean, it was crazy.
I don't know. And I was trying to see, but with the camera angle, you can't really see a lot. I don't know how much we jammed those. I don't know if jamming would have helped, or if we would have just messed up the timing. no pressure, very little pressure after the first quarter. Hate to see that. Probably didn't trust our blitzing that much because of how quick, what was his name? Harmon, was that his name?
Hartman, yeah. His release was pretty quick, yeah.
And that mesh, and I don't know what the answer was. I'd have to go back and actually watch the film and break down what happened, but I just feel like we had to have done something to not allow them. One, we needed pressure, and two, we needed to jam those receivers. And those things just weren't happening today. And I would have loved to have Hartman as my fantasy quarterback this week. That would have been great.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what play really impressed me about Hartman? It looked like they had him sacked, right? And it looked like Eric Smith was zeroing in on him. Eric Smith is one of the toughest players on this Army team, right? He stiff-armed Eric Smith to the ground and ran for a first down. And that was pretty impressive. So it wasn't just his arm, it was his legs at times to get away from trouble when it was there, the few times it was there. And like you said, they're the number 16 team for a reason, and I think they're underrated. I think this Wake Forest team is underrated. Yeah, they might not be able to stop too many people, but I don't know too many people that are going to be able to stop their offense. We'll see. I think they have Clemson coming up. Clemson's been struggling, but this season by their standards. But so Army, see big picture, and then we'll get out of here. Third straight loss for Army now, heading to a bye week before Air Force. So they're now 4-3 heading into a bye week. They play Air Force down in Arlington, Texas in 2 weeks. And man, they got a lot to work on. Definitely have a lot to work on these next 2 weeks to get it right for the Commander-in-Chief's trophy season.
Yeah, and if Air Force handles, I think they play San Diego State today. If they handle them, they may be ranked, and we might get a shot at getting this monkey off our back again. San Diego State's, I think, number 22 right now. So, Air Force is 7-1. They're a good team. So, definitely a shot to, one, it's the Commander-in-Chief trophy, so it doesn't matter what the ranks are. It's always for pride. So, but hey, we'll enjoy the bye week, and then, we'll get after it and we'll beat Air Force.
Absolutely, man. We'll wrap this up. This was the Rapid Reaction podcast to Army's 70-56 loss to Wake Forest. The scoreboard almost blew up at Michie Stadium today, Steve, with all the points and the yards and the first downs and the touchdowns. 18 touchdowns today scored at Michie Stadium. So we'll sign off here. Steve, great talking to you. We'll talk to you later this week coming up. Have a good night, Army fans.
All right. Sounds good. Later.